Hello everyone, Lytro Storm here, and today I'll be beginning the third season of What If Javier was in Season 1. Now if you haven't already seen the rest of the series, there won't be a recap as Telltale What Ifs have many branching choices, and plus these videos don't get many views anyway. So because of those facts, the links will be in the description and comments section of the video. Now because this is a new season, I will remind you who is currently in our group. Clementine, Javier, Kate, Gabe, Mariana, Kenny, Duck, Krista, Omid Jr., Luke, Jane, and Alvin Jr. They all went to Wellington and found no luck, heading back to House where they met a family of 3. So now I'll be continuing from that point, but first, if you enjoy this video, please do subscribe to see this series continue. And as always, be sure to join my Discord and follow me on Twitter. Links in the description. So before we get into the actual game, we're going to have to go through all the Clementine flashbacks in order to set up the season. This time, they would be a bit different, and going in order, we would have Jane and Clementine deciding on a middle name for AJ. This would likely also involve Krista trying to find one for Omid Jr., though I don't think Kenny or Luke would be options for either, since they're both still alive. Options I could see would be Lee, Rebecca, David, maybe Kat, something like that. It's really not a big deal, but what is a big deal is that the flashback wouldn't end in Jane's suicide. Rather, I think she might actually decide to stay alive. This is because in the original, she truly did care for Clementine, and I don't think that would change much here. The only difference would be that there would be more people who could support her with her pregnancy. Kenny has gone through the same thing multiple times now, and Krista is literally a mom, and that's not to mention Luke is alive, so he would be there to help her, and the whole group. Like, yeah, I really don't see her offing herself. It just wouldn't work. The small family that they met at the end of the last season would still make off with some of the supplies, but overall, the group would be just fine. At some point, they would decide to leave House due to the limited supplies. Jane's child would be born, and it would be a girl named Jamie after her sister. The group would eventually be camping out one night, and the scene with AJ and the hand puppets would go roughly the same, just with everyone else there. Luke and Jane would actually also be revealed to have taken on more of a real relationship, and one day Kenny would find a car, and they would later use it for driving lessons on the kids. However, one good thing to note would be that Kenny would be reminded by Duck to wear his seatbelt, so if Clem does make them crash, he'll survive. Kinda like another What If I did. But anyway, the next flashback would be Clementine and the group running through the woods from walkers. They would make it into the weird home thingy that Clem found in canon, and it would be extremely packed, like unbelievably claustrophobic. And yeah, I don't think any of them would die, since if you look in the clip, all the walkers are a good distance away, so as long as the group stays together, they should be fine. Ava would then come in telling them about the new frontier, and how a big group like them would be a great help. And not to mention, they've got multiple babies that need specific things that they have there. No matter whether Clem agrees or not, the majority of the group would, and so they would then join them, and that would lead to Javier and his family reuniting with David. This would be really cool, but Kate would not want to be there since David is there. However, Javi put in a good word for his group, leading to David allowing AJ to take the vancomycin. This means no one ever gets forced out, and now we would be able to go into the present events of the game. So obviously none of the stuff with Clementine or Javi's family would ever happen, which means that the new frontier would never have a grudge against them. However, I do think that at some point they would go after Prescott because they had already attacked many settlements, so it would happen eventually. This would lead to Tripp, Conrad, and Eleanor being the only survivors of the attack. I think Francine would still be caught on a run and used as some sort of chip to take over the settlement peacefully, but Badger would just go nuts and attack like he did originally. The 3 survivors would then get blocked by a car, moving it and then driving to Richmond. This would be because there's no injured Kate, so the necessity to send the car off wouldn't be there. They would fight through the walkers in order to get into the car, and eventually would do so. This means that they wouldn't meet Jesus. And also, I'd like to point something out. I totally missed the opportunity in my What If Kenny Survived series to have Kenny say,
"I am a Christian man,"
when he met Jesus. And in this series, he's alive, but neither he nor Jesus appears here. I guess even the universe wants me to stop with the
"I am a Christian man"
joke. But anyway, they would head to Richmond, which they would find out was New Frontier due to Max being on watch. They would then choose to leave, but David would step out, hearing all the commotion about Prescott being attacked. David would then put them into quarantine and then talk to Javi about it, and then return to quarantine where Javi would listen and ask questions as well. Afterward, they take them to Joan, who would kick the three out and warn David and Javi. However, while David would decide not to risk his life for three strangers, Javi and Luke would. They're the kind of people who won't let people die, especially if they have this kind of information on their home. They need to know more. David then decides that he'll have to go help out his brother, and so the three head out. In their path, they would find the three struggling for survival and being saved by Jesus. So yes, I can finally make the
I am a Christian man
joke. Oh wait, Kenny isn't here. Anyway, they would then all meet and join forces to go to the greenhouse. There they would find Max, Badger, and Lonnie and confront them. Lonnie would be chased down, Max would be handled, and Badger would be fighting Javi. Javi would eventually win and then be forced to kill him or leave him there. Trip might also do it if he's silent long enough, but anyway, the group would then either kill Max or take him back as proof for Joan. This would all practically go the same with the group breaking back into Richmond after Jesus chooses to leave. Javi would then go and get the rest of the group, telling them of everything and how they need to help to stand against it. David's house would have Kate, Mari, and Gabe, so no conflict there. Instead, Kate would argue with David that they should leave. Javi would then bust in to help David, and the two would be captured and locked up. Javi's brother would be taken by Joan, and Javi would then find a way out with Gabe's help. They make it to Eleanor's place, and everyone prepares a plan. Javi, Ava, and Gabe would all go to the armory, and that would all go the same. There would be no Clementine and Lingard scenes since both her and AJ would be back with Eleanor. Gabe wouldn't lash out about Conrad's death since he's still alive, and then he would go along with Javi, Kate, Mari, and Clem to go get the truck. Once there, Kate would confess to Javi her feelings, and he can choose whether or not he feels the same. They would pull up to the town meeting the next morning and would find David about to be hung. Not only that, but everyone from the group, excluding the parents, are there too. This means Trip and Ava, since Eleanor talked her way out of it because she's a doctor. Joan then forced Javi to choose, and she would kill the one he picked to live. Clint would then make a deal, leaving you with the option to either shoot Joan or take the deal, and either way everything would go down. Kate would finally crash the truck. Everyone would escape the destruction, and all the stuff with David and Eleanor would happen. Ava or Trip would be found, and you would go through the helicopter and all that, leading to them dying anyway. Everyone else would stay behind for their families, and David would then go crazy and fight Javi, leading to him about to take Gabe and Mari and leave. They don't want to leave behind the group. No, the family that they've been in, and they want David to be a part of it. Their father has been gone for so long, but he still has a part in their life. That's when David realizes that what they're saying is true and decides that he won't make the mistake of leaving again. I mean, by this point, he's already been with them for so long, even before the game began. So it kind of makes sense for him to come to his senses. The family would then all work together to save Richmond, and this would lead to all of them surviving. Yeah, overall, the entire group we had from Season 2 survived Season 3 as well. And one other difference would be that Clementine wouldn't leave. This is because AJ is of course with them, and everyone else has a much happier life here and would rather just live than go out again. Of course, David and Kate distanced themselves, but other than that, it really is a much more happy ending for our group. Now we know a war happens in Season 4 that goes from Richmond to the coast, and that means Richmond would be hit. Luckily though, the developers have told us that Javi and his family are safe where no tragic plot events can befall them, and that along with Abel mentioning Richmond also tells me that it is still around. So unfortunately, I will not be continuing this series despite how much I would like to, but I will instead tell you what happens to everyone from Season 4 without Clementine. So because she isn't there, they have no idea to go to the train station, meaning that Brody and Marlon would survive. Lily would then come asking for more recruits, to which Marlon would give Violet and a sim. A sim because he already seemed to be kind of challenging Marlon, and Violet because he knew he sent Sophie and Minnie before, and she would probably be happier if they were there. Marlon isn't an evil guy, he still cares about his friends, he's just scared. This would mean that basically the entirety of Season 4 wouldn't happen, and you could say that Lily might come back for all of them, but if she does without Clem, they won't be able to win that fight. This would lead to most of them either captured or killed, and if some manage to escape, they would likely be captured when trying to free the prisoners. So essentially, everything would go far differently and far worse for Season 4 group, but that's what happens when what ifs end early. And speaking of which, yeah, it really does kind of suck that this what if couldn't go on any longer, but I just don't see how this version of events would make our characters end up in the same place they did in canon. But anyway, that's the finale of this series, so if you have enjoyed this series at all, please do be sure to like and subscribe, and just comment your thoughts on it, and just let me know what you think I should do next, I guess. I already have some ideas in mind, but any sort of support on this series helps. But anyway, if you enjoyed this series, please subscribe to see more Walking Dead content on this channel. But as always, tell me if you liked this series, comment your requests for future videos, and subscribe. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.